What's up, y'all? So the Clarissa Shields tickets this morning, a few minutes ago, I pulled up Ticketmaster and I wanted to see if the fight is sold out yet. Okay, because it's on the 15th. All right, we're just a few days out, and she's always bragging about the fact that her fights sell out. Well, let me tell you this: the good news is, if you want a seat, there's plenty left because the dark blue indicates that there's still seating available. I did go in just to see the seats that are left, just to give people a clue as to what's available out there. When you see the gray sections, that means that there's no more seats available. The lighter blue section means that it's almost sold out. So as you can see, there's plenty of dark blue on the map. You see where the ring is. Okay. It's just, and when you look at it, yes, there are a lot of seats taken. I will say that. I will admit that there's a lot of seats that are taken. And from her perspective, coming in on the ring while going to the ring, it could probably look sold out to her. Okay. But as we can see here, this is the truth of the seating and the tickets that are still available, right? I will do another check closer to the event. So don't worry, we're going to, keep track of this. And the reason I'm making this video is because what I will say is I'm a Georgia girl, born and raised, been going to State Farm Arena for events for years. Okay. Even before it was the State Farm Arena, it was Phipps Arena. Okay. So with that being said, a lot of times when there are certain events like concerts, for example, that come to town, you have a pre-sale. And in pre-sale, to even be able to purchase the ticket, you have to have a code. Okay. So there have been times where I have been in the midst of purchasing seats and the seats are bought out from under me because it's so many people trying to buy the tickets. It's to the point where it's a frenzy trying to get a ticket just to make sure you're in the house. Okay. And that's just pre-sale. And pre-sale is usually a couple of days before general public sale. All right. So by the time general public gets to it, it's already sold out. It's already a done deal. In this case, as we can see, there's still plenty of seating left. So if you're going, go ahead on. And they have different ways to pay, y'all. If y'all want to go and don't want to spend your money all at one time, they have the little afterpay and Klarna and whatever else they have available to you. So if you want to go, you can afford to go. I personally think that people aren't behind this fight. For one, they aren't behind the decision of who she's fighting. She had to grab somebody under her own umbrella at Salida Promotions with her to fight. And people are also talking about the fact that Kay Scott doesn't have many professional fights under her belt and that her time before she turned pro, what her stats aren't the best. And so people are saying that she was cherry picked on top of the fact that she's banned from all MVP events. So she can't fight anybody that's under that umbrella. On top of the fact that, Chris Cyborg has been calling her out for I don't know how long, and she just will not fight her either. It's just not a good look. For someone who's so boastful and prideful and egotistical as Clarissa Shields is, it doesn't match what we're seeing here. She's lost favor with a lot of people for several different reasons, to include her involvement with a married man who's still married, who she tries to say isn't married, but then tells us if you're going to say he married, then say he got a wife and hold her accountable too. It's just a big mess. And for whatever reason, she still does not seem to connect why her personal life has damaged her professional life. Okay. It's gone downhill very quickly this year for her. Okay. She did announce that Lotto is walking her out. So, and it's not like Lotto is very favorable right now. Her CD sales or whatever, her album sales have not gone well. It's just, I don't understand why Clarissa doesn't see that this is the beginning of the end for her when it comes to boxing. And if she wants it to be over, that's okay. But don't try to fool the public into believing that you just some great legacy fighter that deserves all the awe and honor and respect that you feel you deserve. Okay, because you're going out bad at this point. And like I said, I am going to check the ticket sales be closer to the event just to see if it's sold out. But at the end of the day, Clarissa Shields will say whatever she wants to say to make people feel however she wants them to feel about her circumstances, this fight, even, you know, she's saying that the fight with K Scott is a serious one, but she got time for all this other stuff. In the midst of training camp, she has gone into the studio to record a diss track towards Alicia Baumgartner. She's fighting with people online. She's speaking on a marriage that has nothing to do with her, aside from the fact she's with the husband currently. Okay. She's doing everything except really putting her head down and taking this as seriously as I think she would if she felt the opponent was really going to be a challenge for her. And it's no disrespect to Kay Scott. However, in watching the little bit of footage that we do have of her, she doesn't look like she has the speed, aggression, or power to even handle being in the same ring with Claressa Shields. Some people are questioning why the boxing commission even allowed this fight. Okay. Especially because Kay had recently, in one of her fights, a fight ago before this one, had got seriously injured. Okay. So I just don't know, you guys. Add to the fact that the undercard is not desirable for a lot of people. Initially, they announced the baddies, Big Lex and Tasiki, were on the undercard. We've seen where Claressa Shields has been training Big Lex and everything, trying to get her prepared for the fight she's going to have against Taseki. They also added a celebrity match with Ray J and Orlando Brown that has also had some drama. Ray J was saying how, he's not really taking the fight seriously. I mean, like, that was the vibes that he was giving. And he was talking about he's only going to train 10 days before the fight, and how, he and Orlando are the real stars and everything, which he has since walked back because I'm pretty sure Claressa called him or whatever and cussed him out. And so, you know how that goes. Okay. So anyway, it's just a whole mess. No one is really looking forward to this fight for real. Like, I'm not going to say no one, but like, it's not a big buzz. Like, okay, I remember when Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury had a fight. This was a few years ago, but I'm just saying, I remember the buzz behind the fight. Everybody was like looking forward to that fight. I went out to see that fight at the bar, and I was there for 4 or 5 hours because I got there well in advance of the main event because everybody wanted to see this fight, and I wanted to make sure I had a seat. It wasn't aired here, like it wasn't from here. I had to go to the bar to see it, right? But my point is this: nobody is excited for this matchup with K Scott. No one is excited about the undercard. Very recently, they added more professional fighters to the undercard, and that still was not satisfactory because a lot of people was like, we don't want to see this either. Like, it's just not a good look for Claressa Shields. And also, it was announced yesterday that Lotto would be walking her out. Once again, nobody really cares. You know, Nobody is like, oh, that changes my mind about wanting to go to the fight. Lotto walking her out makes me want to go see it. Like, it's just essentially, I'm not going to call it a flop, but it's definitely not living up to the hype that Claressa Shields would have people believe that it is. If you were not looking at all the things that had occurred and was just listening to Claressa, you would think completely different than what the truth is. At the end of the day, for whatever reason, Claressa is not connecting the dots and seeing that her actions toward the public, her stance on her personal life and what she's doing, her actions with fellow boxers, Franchon Cruz in February, and then Alicia Baumgartner in May, have affected the public opinion of her. You'll hear it over and over again that boxing is a spectator's sport, meaning people come to watch you. You cannot disrespect people, name calling them, calling them broke, calling them fat, ugly, all of this other stuff, and then go to the public to support you. Okay. It just doesn't make any sense. And some people, when they don't agree with your life choices, they choose not to support you at the same time. And we see that as well here when it comes to Claressa Shields. So, with that being said, you guys, let me know what you think. Um, I'm going to check on the tickets again, like I said, maybe the day before or so, just to see. Because I feel like if people haven't gotten the tickets the day before, they're probably not going to go. All right. Um, is anybody, that was on the fence and thinking about going, have you made your mind up to go or not to go? Do you think that Claressa Shields and the K Scott fight will be a long one, or do you think it's going to end soon? Because that's the thing too. It's like you're fighting this caliber of woman, and we know what your fight style is. Will it last more than a round or two? Okay. So with that being said, for people who are a fan of Claressa Shields, they're not paying minimum of $70 just to come see a fight that's going to be 2 or 3 rounds, if that. Okay. What do you guys think? I mean, if it lasts, I think it's a 12-round fight or whatever, 2 minutes. If it lasts that long, people are saying it's definitely fixed. Claressa Shields' actions, some people feel, are showing that the fight is fixed. Somebody told me that Pat was at Kay's last fight that she had, and boom, that's who they announced she's fighting. So it's kind of like, I don't know. At the end of the day, it's all shisty to me. And it's just a way for Claressa to get a win, and especially a knockout, because people taunt her about the fact that she has like 19 fights and only 3 knockouts. So I feel like she chose an opponent that would be easy to not only get a win for, but to knock her out. Okay. Which is jacked up to me, because in anything that you do, the only way that you get better and the only way that you can say that you are the best is to go up against the best and beat the best. And we know how bad she struggles with cutting her weight. She said it herself. Okay. She's talked about how hard it is to cut weight. She'd have to cut weight in order to get where the other ladies are that are actually some competition and that she can actually fight, because everybody wants to say, oh, she has no one to fight. She would if she would cut weight. There are some people who have agreed to go up in weight to fight her. Okay. Chris Cyborg is one of them. And everybody wants to say, oh, Chris Cyborg is an MMA fighter. She's also a boxer. So she's not just a one-trick pony. She's also a boxer. People want to say Chris Cyborg is old. K Scott is older than Chris Cyborg. So again, the excuses are wearing thin. And it just comes to a point where the truth outweighs the image that Claressa likes to have out there. Social media for her is not only a savior for her in that she gets to get the attention and post things for shock value that she wants, but it's also the equalizer in telling the truth. Because anything that she says that may not be true can be easily debunked with a couple of keystrokes. At the end of the day, I just feel like what started off as a stellar career for Claressa is ending up being the complete opposite. It's the complete opposite. And it's directly reflected in the decisions that she has made and what she decides to go along with. It's just really sad when we talk about her professionally to see that it's not going the way it could have for her. I mean, a few weeks ago, she was asking for sponsors. There's no way she should be asking for sponsors. People should be coming to her and wanting to be her sponsor. And that's just not happening. At any rate, guys, you guys tell me what you think. As always, like, comment, share, and subscribe. I appreciate you, and I'll see you in the next one.